everyone, it's Jay here, and these are the manga and manhwa releases for the first half of August. Starting with Kodansha, we have Adu Volume 8. Riko and Gero look on helplessly as the two Adu turn the cultists into mindless zombies, but just when things are looking dire, the newly healed Renji comes forward to challenge the assailants. Is the erstwhile villain about to take a turn for the heroic, or does he have his own twisted purposes? Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest Volume 18. In this one, Natsu and his friends begin to search for the whereabouts of Ignia, and the fire dragon god has a plan for an ominous festival and he'd like Natsu to join. Kana of the Great Snow Sea Volume 4. In this final chapter of the tale of the young heroes striving to change the fate of their dying world, Kana, Ririha and Yaona descend into the bowels of the royal palace. Sheltering Eaves Volume 4. It's the year 2020. Yoru is a university student in Tokyo. It's been 3 years since she's last heard word from Tenjaku, who was working at a factory. After the pandemic lockdown, the city is starting to come back to life again, and Yoru goes with friends to a club with an up-and-coming rapper performing. There she rekindles her desire to find Tenjaku. The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity Volume 8. An eventful birthday celebration for Saku brings the whole group closer together, as presents and fond memories are shared. With the end of summer vacation looming, Rintaro sets his sights on his next cake, one celebrating all Kaoruko has accomplished in a particularly busy season. The couple meets for one last date before school is back in session, but a surprise visitor quickly throws a wrench in their plans. Windbreaker Volume 13. An all-out fight is about to ignite. Bofurin is a gang of delinquents that made a name for themselves as heroes of their town, but the shadows that once stood in the way of Bofurin's formation have returned for a second round. Knowing both Uminomiya and Bofurin's complicated past, will Sakura be able to stand by his friends to protect the town? Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun Volume 15. All that's left of the Harvest Festival is a mad dash to the finish line. With time running out, the first years fight harder than ever for the champion's crown and the prestigious title bestowed upon the victor, young king. Bloodblade Volume 5. In this final volume of the series, Vlad faces a difficult choice: press on to Monster Island or try to breach the castle and rescue an old enemy. The outcome will determine the fate of his friends, monsters, and mankind itself. Dead Rock Volume 3. In order to get his hands on a book which is said to contain God's weakness, Yakuto heads to Curse Velocity, Dead Rock's infamous library, but the library can turn into a giant labyrinth, and on top of that, the school's strongest student, Kuga, might be coming for his head. Fed up with being the spoiled queen's genius butler, I ran away and built the world's strongest army, Volume 2. Just when Lilt Leal has everyone at Guarded Empire fooled, his self-centered and demanding former boss, Princess Killick, locates him and demands his return. Leal is oblivious about being discovered and continues being the star student at his new job training program. Standing out, however, means being targeted by lazy and entitled rivals who want him out at all costs. How long can Leal keep up with the facade before he's forced back to his life as Princess Killick's overworked minion? I Want to Love You Till Your Dying Day Volume 4. Uncontrollable grief grips Mimi after the loss of a beloved classmate in battle. Sheena's attempts to console her cause nothing but despair for both of them. Just when the tension threatens to break their bond of love, Sheena taps into a hidden power, an ability she happens to share with Mimi's mother. This magic has the potential to heal the wounds of war, but it comes at a cost. Will Sheena pay the price in order to protect Mimi? Fable Omnibus 9. This includes volumes 17 and 18. Yamaoka, a dangerous and fearless officer from the organization of killers that raised Akira, is planning a feeding frenzy to flood Teihai with blood. Predators are closing in on the Sato siblings, who are still supposed to be on vacation, but this crisis might become an opportunity Yoko never thought she would see, to exact revenge with her life on the line. Wandance Volume 13. Cabo and Wanda finally seem back in sync as the two work on their routine for the school festival, but when a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity presents itself to Wanda, Will she prioritise Cabo and their dance for the school festival, or the chance to boost her career? April Showers Bring May Flowers Volume 3. Whether it's her body odour or uncooperative hair, Hannah's struggles with beauty are nothing new, and things have only gotten worse with the rainy season. After a haircut gone wrong, all she wants to do is go home ASAP. So why is she bumping into everyone she knows? But Hannah isn't the only one struggling. Uguri Sudani is trying to up her love game. If only these roadblocks would get the hell out of her way. From Yen Press to Sublime, we have a new series called A Man Who Defies the World of BL. Our straight as an arrow protagonist has figured out that he lives in a BL manga world. So as a means of evading all the hotties after him for some of that sweet, sweet loving, he studies every BL manga he can get his hands on to become a master of spotting their tropes. His evasive manoeuvres prove effective for now. But this is the world of boys' love. From Titan Comics, Kamen Rider Kuga Volume 10. The stakes have never been higher in this volume. As the fierce battles known as Gegeru escalate, a new and terrifying class of monsters, the Go, emerges, challenging Kuga to a bloody deathmatch. Godai, the fearless protector of humanity, now faces these nearly invincible foes with an unlikely ally, one who once caused untold devastation while on the side of the opposition. Welcome to Ghost Mansion Volume 2. Kaoru can't catch a break. Just as she's finally got to the spirit tenants of Ghost Mansion settled in, an exorcist moves into the building. Tsuzumi comes from an ancient family of exorcists and occultists, but can she put aside her training and live in harmony with Kaoru and her laid-back attitude to the Legion of Ghosts? From Viz Media, Astro Royal Volume 1. Hibaru Yotsurugi, the only biological heir to the Yotsurugi Yakuza family, is caught in a power struggle with his adopted siblings over who will be the next boss. But when a meteor crashes into Tokyo, and people begin manifesting mysterious powers called Astros in the aftermath, their gang war becomes superpowered. Volume 4, Colette Decides to Die. Colette's eventful visit home continues with sibling apprentices, an old friend and the 12 Olympians. In addition, her time spent with Lord Hades becomes even sweeter. Dandadan Volume 14. As Momo and the others fight desperately against the alien invaders, a recovering Okarun finally comes to and is able to join them. Unfortunately for him, it's Tuesday, and that means one thing: the evil eye wants to fight. Demon Slayer Kimetsu Academy Volume 6. School's about to be out forever. As the school's culture festival approaches, Muzan seizes on an opportunity to finally take control of Kimetsu Academy. Will Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu be able to ensure their festival goes off without a hitch? Or will their rocking musical performance end with a real bang? In the Name of the Mermaid Princess Volume 7, Mio and July learn that the Elementia are inextricably linked to the centuries of conflict between humans and unhumans. To set things right, they attempt to overthrow Kuya, the Sky Dragon, but when Mio's beloved Yuri is mortally wounded, she must battle her own worst impulses. In this final volume, will compassion triumph over hate? Kagurabachi Volume 4. The Shinuchi, the strongest sword ever produced by Kunishige, is up for auction. Chihiro's on a quest to reclaim the famed blade, but first he'll have to deal with the auction's guards, who are sworn to protect the auction at all costs. Undaunted in his quest for vengeance, Chihiro vows to cut them all down. Kill Blue Volume 2. Mitsuoka Pharmaceuticals is responsible for Juzo Agami's sudden transformation into a middle schooler, and now Juzo is in a fake relationship with none other than Noren Mitsuoka, the heir to the company. But that means having to protect his position from the numerous men who seek Noren's hand in marriage. The challengers include fellow hitman Shin Kohazame and super athlete Tenma Tendo. Can Juzo defeat all of them? Marriage Toxin Volume 8. Kinosaki signs Gero up as a driver for underworld bodyguards Chinatsu Akakura, but this job is no Sunday drive. With an entire clan of pinwheel masters on their tail, Gero will have to help Akakura protect her charge, Zao, at all costs, and if Gero wants to win Akakura's heart in the process, he may be out of luck unless he can win over Zao first. Natsume's Book of Friends Volume 31. A simple auction takes a turn for the sinister when the entire venue is locked down after several priceless items go missing. To make matters worse, the human guests aren't the only ones stuck in the mansion. Now Natsume, his friends, and his questionable allies will need to solve the mystery of the thefts and uncover the secrets of the Nakatomi house if they ever want to get out. Queen's Quality Volume 23. Inside the casket, a shrine maiden tells Fumi that the white snake of despair is gone, and that she will hand over the powers of the white snake to Fumi. Meanwhile, Yanagi appears before the casket, where the gradually vanishing white cat fights him. Ruri Dragon Volume 2. After releasing a burst of electricity during class, Ruri officially has her next dragon trait, Electrostatic Discharge. But not everyone wants to be friends with the dragon girl. Can Ruri soften up a steely classmate, or will her attempt go up in flames? Sakamoto Days Volume 18. The fight between Gaku and Nagumo ends with Nagumo delivering a knockout blow. Down in the museum's basement, X confronts the JAA's chairman, while X's gang takes on Shishiba and Shin on the upper floor. As these battles reach their climaxes, Sakamoto rushes to X, but can he make it in time? Spy X Family Volume 14. The midterm exams, with stellar stars and tonitrous bolts on the line, are over. Has Anya's hard work studying classical language paid off? Also, in hopes of advancing her plan B at the class gala, Anya asks Damien to be her dance partner. The Bugle Call Song of War Volume 2. The time has come for Luca's first real campaign. A fort on the border of the Holy Realm is under siege by the army of the Erin Empire, and it's up to Luca and his newfound compatriots to defend it. The powers of the branch hexed make them unstoppable versus regular troops, but the forces arrayed against them have their own branch hexed in service. Luca now faces a true test of his abilities against fierce opposition. The Elusive Samurai Volume 16. Kitabatake Akie's army, including Tokiyuki's powerful Hojo clan contingent, begins their westward march on Kyo from Oshu. It will be a long journey and will not go unopposed, as forces loyal to Ashikaga Takauji are mobilizing to stop them. Not only will Akie and Tokiyuki need to contend with ambushes and supply problems along the way, but the army of the renowned warrior Tokiyorito also moves to confront the Oshu army at a place that will one day become famed in Japanese history, Sekigahara. You and I Are Polar Opposites Volume 6. With Valentine's Day just around the corner, love is in the air. But while Yamada and Nishi's relationship seems to be growing stronger, Taira and Azuma's burgeoning feelings are hitting a rough patch. Will the two of them be able to overcome their anxieties and doubts, or will they lose what they have before they even have a chance to figure out what it is? Akane Banashi Volume 13. One of the Arakawa Arch 4, Sensho Arakawa, has it out for Maikeru due to their similar performance styles. Will Maikeru be able to gain the approval of the Arakawa Arch 4 and overcome the hurdle that no one in the Arakawa school has even attempted since the scandal all those years ago? Or will he face the same fate as Akane's father? Fly Me to the Moon Volume 29. NASA knows how Tsukasa's powers work. Now comes the real challenge, explaining it to Tsukasa. Maybe a YouTube explainer video will do the trick, or a stage show. While NASA draws out lesson plans, he risks forgetting his other academic challenge. What happened to the exam battle he and Asimo were supposed to be competing in? Girl Crush Volume 2. After Tenka fails to get a call back from her audition and a drop-in dance class reveals that her moves aren't actually all that, she heads back to Japan to restart her real life. But a heartfelt conversation with a dear friend helps Tenka realize she's not ready to give up on her dream or herself. Now she just needs to find an agency that's willing to give her a chance. Mao Volume 21. Mao attempts to save the victim of a curse as well as the one who cast it. Then, a case of missing children attracts the attention of our friend as well as the Goko clan. Next, a puppeteer creates dangerous living dolls. Sometimes it's hard to tell the perpetrator from the victim, and sometimes they're one and the same. Volume 2 of Not So Shoujo Love Story. Despite Hana's best efforts to communicate her feelings for Rei through gentle hints, Rei remains oblivious until a new rival enters the story. although Susan cuts an imposing figure with her powerful frame and track star status. She's meek as a kitten in the face of her own oblivious crush, Hannah. Unwillingly caught between the two in this competition for the heart, Rei's perfect love story is starting to look more and more like a love triangle. It collects episodes 16 to 32 of the popular webtoon series, along with exclusive, never-before-seen content and a bonus short story. Pokemon Sword and Shield Volume 13. Our team meets the legendary Pokemon Calyrex, also known as the King of Bountiful Harvest. With the King's aid, Henry is finally reunited with the Rusted Sword and Rusted Shield. Rai Volume 1. Sumire Ichigaya's got it tough. She's drowning in debt, surrounded by noisy neighbours, fighting for discount supermarket meals, and working a dead-end job exterminating space vermin left over from a failed alien invasion. It seems like things just can't get any worse, until she's abducted by aliens and wakes up with a monstrous new arm and a voice in her head urging her to kill all of humanity. Rainbows After Storms Volume 5. After weathering their first storm, Nanoha and Chidori find their bond even stronger than before. Though they each struggle to keep their awkward sides in check, the pair moves forward together to face their next challenge, the school festival. With even fewer places to hide, will their secret finally be revealed? Sakura Saku Volume 8. Haruki has confessed his feelings to Saku, but she wonders if Hazuki may be a better match for him. Everyone in their friend group is attempting to convey love to someone, but those feelings aren't quite connecting. Snow Angel Volume 2. Muku has finally left her toxic family behind, but she can't help but feel bad for abandoning her little sister Inori. Eager to make Muku smile, Yuto decides they should invite Inori to hang out with them. On the surface, it appears that Yuto's goal is to alleviate Muku's stress, but it turns out he has a different plan in mind. From Seven Seas Entertainment, Jean Bride Volume 2. Isahaya Ichi has reunited with her former classmate, Masaki Makuhito, a man who was once her partner in a school experiment called Jean Bride that matched people based on DNA. Now she can't stop thinking about her friend Ido Enami, who went to the same school as them. Longing to catch up with Enami, Ichi asks Makuhito for help, but on the day they meet up, they encounter a teenage girl with the same face and name as Ichi. Who is this mysterious girl? Finally, the truth of Ichi and Enami's school life is brought to life. Pet Shop of Horrors Collector's Edition 3. When a reclusive systems engineer is found dead in his apartment, Leon heads to the pet shop to ask Count D for help with the victim's collection of expensive tropical fish. However, it soon becomes clear that the Count can do more than just care for the fish. He can talk to them too. Can Leon set aside his disbelief long enough to solve the murder with D's help? Outbride Beauty and the Beast Volume 8. In this one, Mashiro begins her tour of the countries she'll be protecting. She starts with Albion, the land of angels. Upon her arrival, Prince Alfred can hardly hide his impatience to spend the night with her, which she finds utterly endearing. Upon waking up from a night spent in an explosion of pent-up passion, Alfred shows her his divine domain and even reveals some of his past struggles with his father. But when she runs into the king, her human scent proves alluring. Will the father and son be torn apart by Mashiro's magnetism? The Dangers in My Heart Volume 11. While Kyotaro is buried in studies for entrance exams, Yamada's got her own high-stress situation. She's gone viral on social media. Her popularity and fame are soaring, but that means security has to be tightened wherever Yamada goes. With the internet's ever-present eyes watching her every move, Kyotaro has to carefully watch his own actions. The wrong phrase or misplaced hand could irreparably damage Yamada's career and their relationship. Michan Wants to Be Kept Volume 2. Before Michan turns 18, she'll need to decide how to live the rest of her life, cat or human. Her emotions are in total turmoil. Her adoptive roommate Iori is totally oblivious to her feelings, and he hits it off with the cat cafe manager Makio, who, in an amazing twist, has adopted Michan's sister. Mako takes them all on a fun-filled afternoon trip to the lake and explains the ins and outs of catgirl care to Iori while the sisters play. But what happens when Michan is kidnapped? My Dear Friend Nokotan Volume 6. The final exam battle between Koshitan, Neko and Nokotan has kicked into high gear. Nokotan studied so hard that she achieved enlightenment, something no deer has ever done before, who will claim the top spot and be dubbed the star student. But this contest isn't the only problem on Koshitan's horizon. She's come down with a case of deer fungus that is completely a real thing, and Koshitan has a severe case. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord Volume 22. The demon overlord, Modinaram, has awakened. The people of Faltra cower and fall into despair. When even the combined might of the city's defenders fails to best Modinaram, who has absorbed the powers of multiple demon lords, Diablo races to the scene. Will he be able to bring an end to the war between the fallen and the mortal races? Life with an Ordinary Guy Who Reincarnated into a Total Fantasy Knockout, Volume 7. Average office worker Tachibana finds himself in another world and turned into an utterly gorgeous girl. He's stuck in this fantasy world with his best friend until they defeat the wicked demon lord, but first they need money, and fast. They've teamed up with an overly sincere teen girl to explore a dungeon. Can they overcome all the traps and dangers to line their pockets with treasure? And what will it cost them to take home the gold? Cat Companions Maruru and Hachi Volume 4. Maruru and Hachi, once strays, have been taken in by Yasuo along with some of their friends. They're living at the shelter along with a variety of other cats, a very rowdy kitten, a quiet female cat, and one that messes with everyone else's food. Meanwhile, another cat is on Yasuo's mind. Sora and the House of Monsters Volume 5. What does it really mean to build a monster's house? We travel back to when Kirik and the gang began their house building journey in the youthful days in the country of the dwarves. As the human army looms nearer, Kirik finds himself drawn into battle when new friends and farewells await him. Then we return to the present day, where the story is shaken to its very foundations. A new series called No God in Eden, a spicy BL Omegaverse romance about the awakening of the very first Alpha and Omega. Shy, introverted Takai Shikito has spent most of his life with his head in a book. He's the complete opposite of his classmate, the handsome and charismatic Nishio Ririto, whom he's always admired. The two have very little reason to speak to one another, until one day, when Takai notices an alluring scent coming from Nishio. Later, during gym class, a strange, feverish heat suddenly overtakes Nishio, and he begs Takai to help him. But rather than take his classmate to the nurse's office, Takai finds himself alone with Nishio in a storage room, the heat in his own body almost unbearable. Little do these two know that they are about to become the world's first Alpha and Omega, witnesses to the birth of the Omegaverse. Don't Hold Back Lord Hades Volume 1. A steamy take on the romance of Persephone and Hades brings the heat in this new romance manga. In the realm of the gods, new goddess Persephone spends her days tending to her fields of flowers. Every new sprout comes at the cost of an old one, withering and dying, which is how she meets the handsome but taciturn Hades, who visits to collect the dead. Persephone grieves for the death of her beloved plants, but Hades' warmth and encouragement touch her heart. Persephone learns Hades is a victim of the gods' conspiracy. Can their passions stand against all of Olympus? Werewolves Going Crazy Over Me Volume 1. This is a steamy, full-colour webtoon manhwa romance. When Olivia stumbles upon a dangerously handsome man bleeding in an alley, she never expected her life to flip upside down. As a single mum dealing with her child's chronic illness, romance is the last thing on her mind, until she locks eyes with Damien. He's not just a CEO of a powerful pharmaceutical company, he's a werewolf battling his own demons. Desperate to suppress his primal urges, he has turned to an experimental drug. Horrific side effects are plaguing Damien's life, until he catches Olivia's scent. She might just be the cure to his fading strength, but can he find her again after their chance encounter, and will she understand his desperate plight? Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Kana's Daily Life Volume 13. This is a spin-off series. In this one, Kana and Saikawa try diving for pearls, and Kana cheers on an uncharacteristically nervous Saikawa when she enters a karate tournament. What will happen when the girls try out various fortune-telling methods to get to know each other better? 100 Ghost Stories That Will Lead to My Own Death Volume 3. A classmate tells Yuma about a ritual where, if you tell 100 ghost stories, you'll see ghosts afterward. And so, as enigmatically as ever, Yuma continues telling his tales. But what awaits when he reaches 100? Fire in his fingertips, a flirty fireman ravishes me with his smouldering gaze. Volume 9. When Ryo's brother Riku goes missing, she's extra thankful for her relationship with firefighter Soma, who uses his training and expertise to locate him. After Riku reveals he was out in the wilderness on purpose to prepare for getting married, Ryo can't keep thoughts of marrying Soma out of her mind. Is it finally time for the two to tie the knot, or are they moving way too fast? My Cat is Such a Weirdo Volume 7. After welcoming a new family member, an axolotl named Chan, it seemed like business as usual for Ton-chan, Shino-san and Taneo, but now the Tamagoyamas face a major event, moving to a new house. How will the feline family members react? How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift, Volume 18. Hibiki and her friends decide to hit the slopes and go to a ski training camp, but they're horribly out of practice. Could there be a certain strength training solution to get them up to speed? Plus solutions to common workout concerns that will make strength training easier than ever. Let's Buy the Land and Cultivate It in a Different World Volume 8. After being summoned to another world, Kidan possesses the power of the Supreme Wielder. Together with the mermaid Platy and the dragon Veal, he has built a homestead on the frontier, and his farm's only getting larger. Elves, demons, witches and humans are all welcome. Then one day, Platy's older brother, Prince Arowana, pays a visit to the farm to say goodbye. He's departing on a journey for self-improvement, but what will his sweetheart Puffer do? The Barbarian's Bride Volume 4. She may be the strongest of knights, but it seems Serafina isn't strong enough to resist the charms of Vior, the handsome barbarian heir. She finds herself torn between her duties as a Knight of the West and giving in to her heart's desire. Perhaps a trip away will help clear the confusion. Sarah sets off for a mining village, where dwarves forge the highest quality tools and weapons in the shadow of boiling hot springs, and a true dragon. Maybe some time facing down a great worm is just what the doctor ordered. The Last Elf Volume 2. Aharu, last of the elves, travels the land using her unique ability to send spirits back from whence they came. Shien Hozuki, a travelling adventurer, uses her power of spirit debauchery to destroy supernatural threats, and searches for the vengeful spirit who cursed every member of the Hozuki bloodline to die when they turn 20. They quickly become allies and friends, solving one case of spirit mischief after another, but destiny may have other plans for them. After all, the Shamal Empire has hired Shien to find the one who sent the great spirit Orochi, and that happens to be Aharu. Perfect Buddy Volume 4. Seo Hyunsu's relationship, if you can call it that, with his co-worker Baek Young-chan is getting too complicated. Hyunsu knows his personality is difficult to deal with, which is why he's always had a hard time making friends. So how can the ever-positive Young-chan put up with him, both in the office and in bed? However, his decision to end things doesn't go over well with Young-chan, bringing new tension to the office that everyone can sense. And to top it all off, Hyunsu's mum ends up in the hospital. If ever Hyunsu needed a boyfriend to lean on, now would be the time. But is Young-chan up for the challenge? Another new series called Long Period, a BL story about childhood best friends and the unspoken feelings that bind them. This is from the creator of The Two Lions, and Only the Stars Know. Yusei insists he hates his best friend, or at least that's what he tells himself. Itsuki, his gifted, charming and impossibly talented friend, seems to be wasting his potential. After all, Itsuki could easily get into any prestigious university or join any sports team, yet he chooses to spend his time with Yusei. Struggling with feelings he can't quite understand, Yusei pretends to despise Itsuki, hoping it will help him overcome his emotions, or at the very least, distance himself from the one person who means so much. But is pretending enough to change Yusei's heart, and what about Itsuki's feelings? Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation Volume 21. With his beloved wife Sylphie expecting a child and his relationship with his youngest sister on the mend, Rudeus' life has never been better. That happiness is shattered when he receives dire news. Pole's expedition to rescue Zenith has met with catastrophe. They need Rudeus' help. Yet before Rudeus can prepare to leave, he receives a vision from the mysterious Hitogami. The deity warns Rudeus, if he goes to help his parents, he will regret it for the rest of his life and miss out on something immensely important. Caught between Hitogami's warning and his own desire to save his mother, Rudeus must make an impossible decision. The Skull Dragon's Precious Daughter Volume 5. After a crack suddenly appears on Snooze's skull, the young witch, Eve, is shaken to her core as she wonders how much longer she has left with her dragon guardian. She doesn't have too much time to dwell on it though. The dwarf Morder and his granddaughter Rutiel have arrived in town with both a delivery and an unusual request. Not long after, Eve is tasked with saving a baby dragon's life. Fake Fact Lips Break Omnibus. At odds with each other since their high school days, corporate salesmen Ryo and Zen have finally become lovers. The transition has not been a smooth one, however, with each man still baiting the other into petty competitions as they struggle to navigate their new dynamic. And with their hectic work schedules cutting into their time together, it isn't long before anxiety and jealousy begin to creep into their hearts. Yep, just when it seemed like progress is being made, their co-worker, Futami, returns to the main office from Osaka and tries to insert himself into Ryo and Zen's rivalry. Is some friendly competition all he's after? A new series called The Demon King is way too protective. Yamada Seina's life is already teetering on the edge, between juggling high school, managing her friendships, and covering her rent solo. She barely has time to breathe. But when she nearly falls prey to a scammer and loses her hard-earned rent money, things go from bad to worse. Just when it seems like she's hit rock bottom, a mysterious and incredibly handsome stranger with horns swoops in, claiming he's a demon king who's crossed dimensions just to be with her. Why? Because according to him, Seina is the reincarnation of his lost love. Skeptical, but unable to shake him off, Seina finds herself with a new, otherworldly roommate, who's hell-bent on keeping her safe, whether she wants his protection or not. What's a girl to do when her biggest problem suddenly becomes a supernatural roommate? From Tokyo Pop, Reincarnated in a Mafia Dating Sim, Volume 1. When the granddaughter of a Yakuza boss is reincarnated as Francesca Calvino, the heroine in a mafia dating video game set in a fantastical world where crime bosses serve the king, she knows what to expect, another ill-fated life without friends. But thanks to her upbringing, she's already hatched a plan. By expertly navigating the game's main story, Francesca will leave the world of organised crime behind for good. First on her agenda, break off her engagement to the notorious Leonardo Aldini, the young head of the Aldini family, a major villain of the game. But after breezing through her kidnapping without a male lead in sight, Francesca proves herself to be a little too good at taking Leonardo on. Not only does he still wish to marry, but he won't leave her alone. How is Francesca supposed to live a normal life while being pursued by an insolent crime lord? From Square Enix, Yora Pearl Harbor Descent Record Volume 4. It is the year 11,941. Number 2 and Number 4 have infiltrated the enemy server base in Mount Carla so that they may take back the Earth for machine lifeform encroachment. In this final volume, how will this battle against the machine lifeform end? Another new series called Exquisite Blood, The Heretic on Myoji. In this fantastical tale of demonic battles and courtly intrigue, an Onmyoji known as the Heretic faces a destiny that could overturn both the human and demon realms. In an era where only a thin boundary exists between the mortal and supernatural realms, demons steal 10 powerful artifacts known as the Sacred Relics from the human imperial capital. The Emperor issues a decree to all Onmyoji, masters of magic who serve and defend the Empire, recover the relics at all costs. Among their number is Hanayama no Fuzuki, known as the Heretic, whose extraordinary abilities and arrogant attitude inspire equal amounts of respect and mistrust. As Fuzuki sets forth with his retainer, Hakuro, they encounter the young half-demon Ranmaru, who possesses a startling connection to one of the relics. My Isekai Life Volume 20. Yuji Sano was a normal guy working a soul-sucking 9-to-5 job when he suddenly found himself transported to a fantasy world where he restarted his life as a monster tamer. Yuji ends up enrolling in the Royal Academy in order to get access to a secret book containing information on the evil organisation known as the Laboratory. His efforts at keeping a low profile end up being for naught, unfortunately, as news of his exploits on the infamous Evil Dominus Island spread among the student body like wildfire. While Yuji struggles with his newfound fame, will he actually end up enjoying student life in another world? The Ice Guy and the Cool Girl Volume 10. While Himura and Fuyutsuki are now a happy couple, blizzards abound when Himuro spots Fuyutsuki out shopping with another man. And not just any man, but her former co-worker from overseas who has been transferred to their office and happens to be the descendant of a succubus. This man, Sakuba, and Fuyutsuki seem to be close enough that he has no reservations about calling Fuyutsuki by her first name. Will Himura be able to stand the heat, as his heart burns hot enough with jealousy to melt snow? Volume 5 of Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You. After smoking away from the supermarket together for the first time, Yamada and Sasaki begin to realise their fleeting feelings for each other are taking shape. Sasaki is too hesitant to move forward, and Yamada, shackled by the past, resolves to take the secret of Tayama to her grave. Sasaki hears of Tayama's relationship with a co-worker who's been transferred back to the store. Will jealousy finally spur him to action? Dragon and Chameleon Volume 4. Having reached colossal circulation numbers, near universal acclaim and social media dominance, Gario Hanagami's Dragonland stands perched atop the manga industry. If the man now known as Shinobu Miyama wants a ghost of a chance at toppling this behemoth, he'll need some capable assistance by his side. But how will he find the right people, much less convince them to work under him? So these are most of the manga and manhwa releases for the first half of August. I'm really sorry this is getting to you so late. Thank you for your patience, and I hope you found some volumes here that you really want to buy. There are quite a few new series coming out this half of the month, which is very exciting. As always, if you want to use the code Jay'sManga at SciFier.com, please do. It will get you an extra 5% off. And they have cheap prices anyway, but even getting an extra 5% off, you never know, you might be able to afford another volume with that. I hope you have a fantastic manga buying month, everyone. Bye!